Welcome to training video for preschool for our VBS Fantastic Week of 2019. We are going to do Power Up this year. And if you're watching this video, that means that you are going to be a preschool team leader or a preschool team assistant. So congratulations, and you're going to have a fantastic week with the kids. I do apologize, my co-star here is not here this year, who usually does the speaking, so bear with me as we make it through these videos this year. So basically, through all of VBS, kids are going to be challenged to raise their game, and knowing that God, let's start that over. Kids are going to be challenged to raise their game because knowing God and trusting Jesus fills each of us with the fruit of the Spirit. That's kind of where we're going this year with VBS. So this is going to be kind of an example of what your small group may look like. Now yours is going to be a little bit different. This is set up for the elementary schools, so you're not going to have the mat here or the work, I think that you get the workboard, but you're going to be in your own room downstairs that would be your own color. So each preschool team will have their own specific color, and we'll have a workstation with all of your stuff, and your supplies will be in each room. As you can see, supplies for day one are going to be here, and following that, you just leave everything there, and before the next day comes, all those supplies will be redone, so you'll have everything you need for the next day as well. And so your team this year is going to consist of you. Your team is the team leader. You will have a team assistant, and you can have up to 10 kids in the preschool area. You are going to receive, if you haven't already, your lesson plans for the day. You'll get these in your VBS training folder. There's going to be a set of papers for day one. You'll have day 2, 3, 4, and 5. These are going to be your lesson plans for that evening for each one. Make sure you have those with you. I recommend reading through them ahead of time. You definitely want to know what you're going to be getting into with the kids and teaching them. But the training video is just going to give you a more visual idea of what the activities are going to look like and what to expect. Good thing with this is on the top of the Power Up line here, you're going to have your bottom line, which is kind of what we usually say is our need to know, but the bottom line is going to change every day. It says today's focus, that's going to be kind of, has to do with like the Bible story that they're going to be learning today. So, every lesson plan for the evening has 3 activities for you to do. The first one is an application activity. The second one is a memory verse activity. And the third one is an application activity as well. The application activity really takes the Bible point and applies it straight to the kids, whereas the memory verse activity is helping them memorize their memory verse for the week and really gets it into the kids' heart. Now, there are 3 activities. We're going to have about 20 minutes with the kids, so it is okay if you don't get to all 3 activities. We'd love you to. It's great. We've got all the supplies for everything, but if you're really getting into the activity with the kids and it's taking a little bit more time on one activity versus the other, it is okay to just get, say, 2 activities done and not get the third one done. We don't want you stressed out. We don't want the kids stressed out. And sometimes if they're really getting into a certain activity and they're responding and there's a lot of discussion about that, that's great. Let it happen. We would like you to at least get to the memory verse activity and one of the application verse activities if you only get through 2. Key point, no stressing about it. All right, so let's go ahead and dig in. There was another point I had somewhere here, and I'm just going to throw it in right now. There are travel ropes to use for preschool and our toddlers, so you can use those to kind of keep the kids attached to you as you're traveling through to stations and to storytelling time. So those will be available if you need those. All right, now time to dig in. Our first application activity for day 1 is going to be Live for God. So what we're going to do is we're going to take this fingerprint family portrait activity page. We have our ink pads, and we've got some markers, right? We've got some markers. Now we have some awesome VBS attenders here. We have some G.I. Joes and princesses and some Barbies. So just give you an idea of your kids for the week here. So what we're going to do, and most important, wet wipes for the ink afterwards. So what the idea is we want them to understand that we're going to make a family fingerprint of our own. So you can do one ahead of time, it would be great. What you're going to do is you're just going to use your fingerprint and you're going to make a little dot here to do the head, and you can draw in with your markers for the body, the arms, legs, things like that. You can put a little face on them and make it look real cute. Now, you can do one ahead so they can see it. It's a little bit easier sometimes for preschoolers to see what they're supposed to be doing. But during the activity, and I'll also tell you on the activity, the lesson plans, there's a section here that talks about during the activity, after the activity, what you can say during and afterwards, just to kind of tie everything in so the kids are getting the most out of our time with them. But we're going to create a picture of each of their families using the fingerprints. So maybe they have a mom, a dad, they've got brother, sister. They can make as many fingerprints as there are to how many family members they have with who they live with. Make sure they leave a little bit of space so you've got plenty of room. And again, use the markers to add in everything they'd like, whether it's hair, body parts, arms, and legs. You can definitely use wet wipes afterwards to make sure they're all nice and clean. And again, there's a section here what to say during the activity and after the activity. This is a great place to work in the bottom line, which is whose power gives you everything you need? God's power gives me everything I need. And that's going to be the bottom line for day one. On the next side, we have our memory verse activity for the evening. Now, a lot of the preschool applications and memory verse activities are really geared towards preschoolers. So while elementary school is doing one thing, these are geared just for preschoolers. So you may not have activities that have any supplies at all. So this one right here is our first memory verse activity, and they're just starting to hear those words. So it's going to be just a repeat after me and repeat my motions. So it's going to be God's power has given us everything we need to lead a godly life. And they'll march up and down as they stand. And then you're going to say 2 Peter 1:3a, just like the Bible. Okay? So you're going to go through that a couple times, repeat after me, and maybe have them do it in different voices, whether you do mouse voice or big giant voices, however you want to do that. You can get them to repeat that with you so they start to learn that memory verse for the week. Again, there's a what to say before, during, and after the activity. And another great part to get in there, whose power gives you everything you need? God's power gives me everything I need. So they really get that bottom line. The last application activity is kind of gets them up and moving. We are going to make a large square over here on the floor. I've already pre-done it so you can kind of see. We are going to have one empty basket. Now your square that you make with your tape needs to be much larger than this, but for videotaping purposes, we made it kind of smaller. So you're going to make a large square on the carpet here. You're going to put an empty bucket in the middle, and you're going to have 2 full buckets of ball pit balls, maybe one on either side. And what the kids are going to be doing is they're going to stand on the tape, so they have like an edge to go from, and they're going to try to toss those balls into that bucket. So that's why we need a little bit more space for them. And as many balls as they can get in that bucket, we're going to try and get as many as we can. So maybe split your group up into 2 teams, 1 team on each side. Just try to toss as many balls as they can into those baskets. When the middle basket is full, you can go ahead and dump them into the 2 baskets outside of the square, and you can play again if you have enough time. You can continue playing that just as long as the kids are having fun. And then at the end, or actually before the activity, you can talk about what to say here. During the activity, you can cheer them on. And then after the activity, there's more points to talk about as well. So that'll be good to read through those ahead of time. And that is going to be the end of our small group time. Now, once you complete your small group time, you'll rotate through on your schedule. You want to kind of check out to see if we're going to be going to stations first or to storytelling, but you're going to rotate through for a couple of rotations. Once you're done with that, you're going to come back to your small group and have a closing activity, and that's going to be on the last page here. It's called the closing reflection activity. And really, there's a lot of discussion points here with the kids where you may ask a question, they respond, and you just kind of go back and forth, kind of talking about the Bible story and things like that. Again, it's another time to get in that bottom line of God's power gives me everything I need. And then near the end of all of that discussion time, there is a journal. And this is going to be your journal for the week. It's not for every child. It's going to be one journal per group. And there's going to be some stickers in here too. So what we're going to do is we're going to make the first day, we're going to make a list of all the things that God has made. So really get them chiming in and giving you examples of things that God has made. And since God made everything, we can make a list of all kinds of things. So think of one thing that God made, and when I call your name, tell me what it is, and I'll write it in our journal. And then we can use our list as we pray. So you have them respond to you. Then you can keep going, and only God has the power to make all of these things. And because God made everything, He knows everything. Let's praise God for knowing all things and being so powerful. Would anyone like to pray before I pray? So you can kind of give them an opportunity to pray. And then there's a closing prayer if you'd like to use this one to kind of close before you head to the large group closing ceremony. And that, my friends, is day 1 in the books.